Welcome to the Daily Vlog. My name is Dr. David Duizer. I'm a naturopathic doctor in Vancouver, British Columbia, focused on the holistic approach to chronic disease management. If you like naturopathic, holistic, integrative medicine, please subscribe to my channel and like this video for more like this one. Today on the show, we're talking again about sleep and weight loss. I seem to be obsessed with sleep, but it's really part of the holistic approach to managing all different types of disease and illness. And so I'm very, very interested in optimizing sleep. I'm not wearing an Oura ring. I'm not tracking people's sleep patterns, but I'm really focused on helping people get really solid recovery, really deep sleeps, so that they're feeling really good in the morning and able to participate in their activities of daily living at a really high level and just feel good all day long. That's my ideal for people, even when they are unwell, even when their labs say something serious is going on, even when they have a diagnosis, even when they're heavily medicated. I really want them to be naturally falling asleep and staying asleep all night long, because I think it's so important for overall health and wellness and optimal functioning in general. And really, in order to get away from these diseases and disorders, we need to be looking at eating well, sleeping well, and moving our body. So sleeping well, I can't stop talking about it with people. Today on the show, we're just covering a very simple study that was done, I think back in 2010, maybe a long time ago. But it was a very small study. It was only 10 people, but they had them go through two different phases of a weight loss program, and it was really fascinating, so I wanted to share with you. Let me figure out what school this was done at. This was done at the University of Chicago Medical Center. It was published in October 5th, 2010 in the Annals of Internal Medicine, and I'm fascinated with it. I come back to it often. I don't know why, I'm interested in it. But anyways, they took 10 people, and they had them in two different clinical settings. One where they were only allowed to sleep for 8.5 hours per night, and the other where they were allowed to sleep for 5.5 hours per night. They were in bed for these periods of time, and they did these two things for 2 weeks. The study was calorie controlled. So it was about how much 90% of the calories they needed without exercise for their body weight. So basically, all of these people were in the overweight or obese category, all 10 of them, and they were trying to see how much weight they lost during both of these two time periods. What happened was this. So they had 14 days where they were allowed to sleep for over 8 hours per night, and 14 days where they were allowed to sleep for 5.5 hours. And they were eating the same amount of calories the whole time. So it was a calorie controlled study. And what happened was, during both of the 2-week periods, they lost an average of 6 pounds. Pretty great, right? Well, there was a major difference. In the first 2 weeks, they lost 6 pounds. Half of those 6 pounds was fat loss. Amazing. So great. The other 3 pounds, fat-free weight loss. So probably muscle loss. Now, on the second 2 weeks, what happened? So they were sleeping less. So on average, in the first 2 weeks, they slept for about 7.5 hours. In the second 2 weeks, they on average slept for about 5 hours and 15 minutes. So it's about 2 hours less sleep per night. They ate the same amount of calories. In those second 2 weeks, they also, on average, lost 6 pounds as a group. The problem here, only about a quarter of that weight loss was fat in those second 2 weeks. So they actually lost a lot more muscle. The problem here, in addition to that it wasn't mostly fat loss, they actually were a lot hungrier, and their ghrelin levels were a lot higher, their hunger hormone. Now, sleep deprivation hunger has been shown to be almost equivalent to this marijuana consumption hunger, or the munchies that you get when you consume marijuana. When you don't sleep as well, the same thing happens. In this case, ghrelin was really high. Hunger hormone was really high. They couldn't eat, so they were pretty stressed about not being able to eat as much more, because they wanted to eat more, but they couldn't, because it was calorie controlled these 2 weeks. So calories were cut. They lost the same amount of weight, but the problem here is that fat loss was actually reduced. So I think this is a really important study to show that sleep reduction makes you hungrier. Done. So you're going to eat more. If it's not a calorie constrained environment, you're going to eat more. There's just calories around for us to consume all the time. So we just have such free access. We're going to eat more calories if we can. Hunger hormones were a lot higher in that sleep deprivation state, so 2 hours less per night. But the weight loss was the same. So it looks all right on paper, but my goodness, they had a 55% less fat loss in the second 2 weeks. And they were hungry, so it's just going to come right back, and they're going to overeat. And this is going to be quite bad for them. So I really wanted to highlight this today. Sleep is really important on a weight loss plan. You need to be sleeping at least 7.5 hours per night, preferably 8 hours per night. On a weight loss plan, it's going to be helpful. Now, what are some of the reasons why sleeping less could be impacting fat loss? Well, here's what could be happening. Testosterone could be down. When you're not sleeping as well, you don't get a significant boost in testosterone. The testosterone boost is less. So that could be happening. There could be issues with cortisol control, so stress hormone control, and could be issues with blood sugar management and insulin release. Gluconeogenesis, or the ability for the liver to make sugar, could be increased. It's possible. So that could cause you to hold on to fat. It's called storage mode. So when you're stressed and not sleeping, we think people go into storage mode. This is an example of where it could be happening. Holding on to fat cells when you're not sleeping as well. But still, because of the deprivation, still losing weight, but maybe in the form of muscle, maybe. So I find this very, very interesting. When we talk about weight loss, we talk about the holistic approach to long-term weight management. Getting from the obese, overweight category down into the normal category. It needs to be sustainable, so the way you're eating has to be sustainable long term. It needs to be slow, it can't be quick, and it needs to be done in a way that is conducive to overall wellness. It can't be these dramatic programs that may be bad for you. It needs to be slow, methodical, healthy, and an important component of that is proper sleep. And this study showed that really, really nicely. I know it's only 10 people. I know it's small, and you know, you could probably come up with a few other reasons why you don't think it's good. But I'm telling you, sleep is important in weight loss. And it's just another way to show, even if it's just for the hunger management, you know, even if it's just to keep hunger hormones stable, we need to be sleeping. So in this age of go, go, go and push, 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 and I love the quote by Arnold when people ask, Arnold Schwarzenegger gives talks about how he's frustrated that people would say they can't exercise because they don't have time. Well, he says, well, how long are you sleeping? And maybe you should sleep faster. I love that so much. I think about it often. But in this world where we're trying to sleep less to get more done, and many of us are getting further and further into overweight and maybe even obese category, it's important to make sure sleeping well through the night, falling asleep quickly, sleeping through the night, and getting adequate hours is an integral part of your holistic weight loss plan. It really, really does help in the long term. It makes it easier for you. It makes it easier to follow a plan. Like if you're going to have a low-carb breakfast, for example, you need to not be terribly hungry when you wake up. And having an appropriate amount of sleeping hours will facilitate that. I hope you got some benefit from this video. I can't stop talking about this kind of stuff. I love it so much. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. And if you're interested in holistic health and wellness videos, please subscribe to my channel. We'll do more like this one. Thanks for watching.